Hi there, Rickion speaking. Well, the weatherman said it's going to snow, and guess what? He was right. Now, the weatherman's not always right. We were supposed to be getting 20 inches of snow, and right now it's just, maybe an inch or so. But they say overnight it's going to be up to 20 inches here in Parker. But this reminds me of a passage of Scripture in the Gospel of Matthew. We are told that the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to Jesus, and they were always trying to trick him. But this time they were asking for, some kind of miraculous sign. And this is how he responded to them. When evening comes, you say, "It will be fair weather, for the sky is red." And in the morning, "Today it will be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast." You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the time. What does he mean, the signs of the time? Well, Jesus gave many, many different signs. First of all, as to who he was, the Messiah. And he offered himself as the king of the Jews. Of course, they rejected that. But he did so many miracles. All these different signs should have told these Pharisees and Sadducees who he really was. But there are also signs of the times in which you and I are living. That we are living in the last generation before Jesus returns. I keep telling people to look at the nation of Israel, because Israel is the key to prophecy. What God does with that nation prophetically, and we look back historically how so much of that prophecy was fulfilled, so we know that the prophetic statements of the future are going to be fulfilled in a very literal way. For instance, the fact that Israel is a nation today. Well, up until the age of 11, I never heard of an Israel. There was no Israel as a nation. The Jews were scattered in all the nations around the world, but the prophet Ezekiel, 2,600 years ago, predicted that God was going to gather his people from all the nations of the world. And the first thing he was going to do was to heal the land, so that the land would produce great fruit and vegetables to feed the people. And then he was going to bring them back, and he was going to make them a nation once again. And he was going to multiply the people on that land. And that he was going to prosper the people more than ever before. Well, you look at the nation Israel today. Yes, they are a nation. And yes, they are prosperous. In fact, they are the 8th power in the world. This tiny little speck on planet Earth. God has his hands on those people. And he made promises, and he has kept those promises. But he also tells us that in the future, Israel is going to be invaded. And he tells us who those nations are. In Ezekiel 38 and 39, we read about Russia, Iran. We read about Turkey. These nations will make an alliance. And today, the first time in their history, at least Turkey and Russia and Iran are united, and they are having their own financial problems, and they look on Israel even today, and they envy Israel. And we are told one day in the near future that they will invade Israel, and the other nations of the world are just going to look on. And then that's when the Lord intervenes. So keep your eye on Israel, because as you look at Israel, these are signs of our time. And what God promised is going to happen to them is happening right now in our generation. Thanks for watching.